WIP for all. This presentation is meant to introduce a very important concept in any industry. And we are going to project that to our industry, which is software development. That concept is called WIP. Secondly, our target is all people in the software process, no matter of the rank or the role that they are playing in the process along the process line. And our objective is actually to ensure that we all have the necessary awareness towards the value of what we do and why we do it and what can get in the way towards achieving the best value from our work in order to avoid it. And finally, I would like to say that this video is particularly targeting the juniors because these people have to get more than anybody else early enough the awareness about the relation between their work and the value they contribute to their organizations. And that is very important to gain work values early enough, as I say, in their careers. So what WIP is standing for? What does WIP actually stand for? That's WIP. It stands for equally for either of two phrases, which are the same: work in progress or work in process. There is no much difference, no difference maybe at all, only we can say that progress is used more in British English, while process is rather used in American English. That might not be 100% the rule, but when you read about the topic, you will find that it is true for most of the cases. No matter which you use, it's actually the same thing. We mean the same thing. To some, and I'm actually one of those, I prefer the progress. Why? Because it has a reflection or it gives you a feeling that something is moving ahead. And I prefer to feel that work is moving ahead and is not stationary. So let's delve into the concept and see what it means to us and to our companies and to our careers. What is WIP in software process? In any process, actually, in any industry, you start by some kind of raw material or components, and then you take this to a certain production line in which these components are assembled together to get a final product, or these materials are treated chemically or some way through a certain, some way or another, through a certain process, and you get a final product like gasoline, for instance. So we have two types of process lines, production lines. One is process oriented, صناعات تحويلية, and the other is assembly line, which is صناعات تجميعية. That's in Arabic. So how does that project to software? Our raw materials actually is requirements, and we always have a backlog of requirements. This is made up of features that we hope to deliver to a customer, and the customer actually is eager to get from our company. We take that to our process line. We translate that into tasks which are responsible for producing these features. Then and through what we call now CI/CD, which is continuous integration, continuous delivery, we should complete that with testing, integration, delivery in order to get final product to the customer. And the final product is actually the value we deliver to the customer. If you ask me, what do we deliver a product or we deliver uh, tailored software or a product that goes to the market. In any case, it's value. That's what the customer pays for. And in other words, I would translate that into functionality, because functionality is actually a translation of the features that he requested the customer. I mean, requested here that this is what he asked us to do, and this is what is, in the end will give him the benefit that he is hoping for. So it's functionality, and functionality is finally the value that everybody is looking for. Now, once we have got our raw materials into our production line, they become work in progress. So we can define work in progress as any requirements that have been taken to our production line or process line and has not been yet finished or delivered to the customer. Any requirements or features that we have taken to the production line, our production line, and still is there and not yet delivered as value to the customer. That is WIP in software industry. You can see the analogy here. We don't have raw materials. We don't have components to integrate. We have features, which is our raw materials, actually. So the question now, is it good or bad to have it? I mean, WIP. Strictly speaking, and according to the lean principles, lean is the way we produce things without waste. We will talk about that later. هنتكلم عن اللين ده فيما هو قادم, لكن our entry point to the lean principles is going to be WIP. So السؤال هو, is it bad thing or a good thing to have WIP? Lean says it's a bad thing to have WIP. Very strange, actually, but as strictly as that. Of course, we cannot work without having WIP. But the question is, there has to be some WIP at any point in time, but just for the shortest time that ensures a healthy flow of features to the customer. So, strictly speaking, WIP is a bad thing, but it is inevitable, حاجة ما نقدرش نستغنى عنها, and it has to be there. Forgive me, I'm going to switch between Arabic and English, but everything is covered in both languages for just little explanations here or there. But for the shortest, we have to keep it there for the shortest period of time that allows the flow of the features to the customer in the form of the product or the contracted software. Actually, WIP is a kind of inventory. Why do we consider that a waste? Actually, Lean sees WIP as a waste until it's finished and delivered to the customer. Actually, WIP is a kind of inventory. Inventory, by definition, if goes beyond a certain amount of value, is a waste. So inventory that represents tied up resources, because material or parts that we are going to integrate together is we pay money for that and we keep it as long as we finish the final product. So that's tied up money. So it's a kind of inventory. هو نوع من المخزون، وبالتالي المخزون ده بيمثل بالنسبة لنا فلوس، وبيمثل بالنسبة لنا فلوس ممسوكة. مش هتتحرر هذه الفلوس تدخل جيوبنا إلا لما هنخش في نحولها إلى برودكت، والبرودكت ده يروح للكاستمر. staying there in the process is on top of the list as a waste. يعني لما يفضل الكلام ده موجود في البروسيس, this is considered on top of the list by lean, on top of the list of the waste. ليه? Why? Customer payments are delayed until you finish your product, and hence the cash flow in will suffer. We will not get the money promptly enough. That's money, which is salaries that we have to pay, running costs for any company to exist and thrive. So if you keep the WIP long on the production line, that means that you are tying up inventory, you are tying up money that you should have got from your customer, ودي هي اللي بتتحول في الآخر إلى the money that you need, and that's the money that you need to pay salaries and to pay for the running costs, and finally to cause the company to thrive and be prosperous, and hence the staff working there. And more than that, if we don't deliver fast enough to the customer, there is a very important moral factor that will come into the theater. The customer starts to lose interest. Customer يا جماعة, when he doesn't feel that he is getting his features soon enough, بيبتدي يحصل نوع من disintegration for the customer from the process itself. He loses interest, and not only interest, at the same time, he will lose confidence in the project, in the people working for the project, and in the company. That is a big risk, actually, which is above being a waste. So, what's our duty on the process line? Everybody in his role, her role, and whatever the rank might be, to reduce the WIP to the absolute minimum to deliver. No matter of your rank, as I say, or your role, think of what hampers your task. ايه يا جماعة اللي بيوقف شغل علشان خاطر ما يطلعش في الوقت المناسب والسرعة الكافية. We have to think of this and to eliminate the delays together. Think of every possible way to eliminate the delays and cooperate on that to the most and get our role done. And because this is one of the sorts and one of the forms of waste according to the lean philosophy, and we have to cut down the waste of every type, then we have to cut down the waste of every type that stops WIP from being delivered as a final product to the customer. There will be more talk in this series about waste as seen from a lean perspective, and how to cut them down in the coming episodes of this series. So thank you very much for coming by, and see you on the next waste. Actually, it's waste. I wrote it waste while it is waste, W-A-S-T-E. No problem. We have to get that to you as soon as possible, so there will not be time to change it. That ends the presentation, and thank you very much again.